guess even horror movies can still surprise me. Not in the way of them actually like scaring me, because I've pretty much been desensitized to this shit, but like, oh my goodness. I talk about a movie that comes out of nowhere that you're expecting to suck, but it doesn't. It's actually really fucking good. Like, great even, I dare say. Now, let me put this in perspective for you. I am not a big fan of religious horror movies, okay? Like movies that deal with like horror movies that deal with religion or demonic possession, angels and demons. It just doesn't interest me all that much. The only two movies I can think of that I actually really like that are in this subgenre is Exorcist and Poltergeist. That's literally it. And I'm talking about the originals, not the shitty remakes. No. The original Exorcist and the original Poltergeist. Those are the two movies that I can think of when I think of actual good religious horror movies. But then you have shit like The Nun. Both of them. They're both fucking terrible. Or just recently this year with Immaculate, a movie a lot of people like that I just don't. Like, it's one of those movies that I refuse to review because I know it's going to get me absolutely crucified by horror fans. So, yeah, I was not a fan of Immaculate. It just was not my kind of movie. I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. And that's okay. We all have our different tastes. Not to mention, horror this year has kind of been shit up to this point. Like, hold on. Let me pull this up for you. Let me pull this up. I've started making a list. Like, let me look here. Let's see. What do we have in horror or horror adjacent? We had Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Terrible. Night Swim. Terrible. Immaculate. In my opinion, terrible. Imaginary. Not terrible, but very, very boring. And then, it started picking up a little bit because I liked Lisa Frankenstein. I loved Blood Honey 2. And I loved Late Night with the Devil. That's still my favorite horror movie of this year so far. Late Night with the Devil. Damn, that's such a good movie. But I've not seen Abigail yet, so maybe that might take its spot. But point is, horror this year's been kind of shit. Because most of them have either been below average or just outright trash. So, imagine my surprise when they decided to announce a prequel to The Omen. A movie that I have not seen. Yes, I know, that may sound like blasphemy to horror fans, but no, I have not seen this movie yet. I have only seen bits and pieces, but I know well enough about its reputation. About how people consider it one of the scariest and best classic horror movies in this demonic possession, religious horror subgenre. So, I went into this with bottle barrel expectations at first. I didn't see the trailer, I've only seen the poster. So I went into it pretty much as blind as you can possibly go, because I haven't seen The Omen, and I haven't seen all of these supposedly really, really bad sequels. So, I didn't even bother with those, because I heard they were shit, and I didn't want to torment myself. So, imagine my surprise when, right before I was actually originally supposed to review this, when this first came out, imagine my surprise when I saw a lot of reviews online from people that I personally really trust, praising the film. And I don't mean like, oh, they're praising it just a little bit, or maybe it's a few people here and there. No, these are like genuine horror fans and movie critics that are praising the absolute hell out of this movie. Like, hold on, let me do a Google search to tell you about a couple that I saw. No, not stupid thing. There we go. Let me think. Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, Sean Chandler, Dan Murrell, Drum Dums, Cody Leach, Chris Parker. Like, everyone I've known and trusted for a while now, movie critic-wise, has seen this movie. Rockland Gremlin Productions. That guy too, I almost forgot about him. But yeah, like, everyone's been praising this movie. So, my expectations went up a little bit. They didn't go up super far. They went up a little bit. But damn, imagine my surprise when I finally saw the movie for myself and found out not only is this a great movie, it is a great religious horror movie, and it is a great just horror movie on its own. It doesn't rely on shit jump scares. The writing is not half-assed. The acting is not treated like an afterthought. Like, it is a movie that knows what it is. And it's a movie that actually takes itself seriously. It's made by people that actually give a shit. Like, damn, man. There's a lot to talk about with this. But I don't want to go too far into it because I still want to keep this free of any and all spoilers because you need to see this. I'm just going to say right now, this is a must-watch for horror fans and easily among one of the best horror films of the year. So, here's my little short written review. It's not as super in-depth as usual, but it's because I want you to go into this vague. I want you to go into this blind because that's how you're going to get the best experience out of it. But be aware, the first 30 minutes are going to bore the shit out of you. Like, that's this movie's big problem. I'll talk about it when we get in here. But, yep, let's just dive right in. I've done enough of a preamble. Dark, gripping, focused, tragic, atmospheric, and genuinely unnerving is the best way to describe this movie. Not only is it a surprisingly great prequel to the original Omen, but it's also on its own an admirably strong horror movie that's effective in what it sets out to do, and doesn't rely on shitty jump scares. Cannot tell you how refreshing that is. It's very refreshing. Very, very refreshing. That being said, though, it's still got a few issues. The first 30 minutes are very slow and feel almost like an entirely different movie tone-wise. Like, this movie starts out, tone-wise, kind of light. Like, it's not outright goofy or silly, no, but it's light. It doesn't feel like it's gonna go to the places that it goes, and it feels like an entirely different movie. And I will admit, for the first 30 minutes, I wasn't really into it. But when we got to the 45-minute mark, especially when Mia Goth appeared in a very surprise cameo, yeah, that's when I got hooked. And once it hooked me in, it did not let go, and I was in for a wild fucking ride. But some of the other problems, some of the acting is pretty hit or miss, specifically some of the other nuns in this church, like, they're terrible. Their acting's not terrible, but it's iffy. It's not very good. Some of the lighting during the nighttime scenes is pretty bad. There were plenty of times during the nighttime scenes in this movie where I couldn't see shit. I don't know if it was from the theater I was watching it in. Maybe they didn't have a good quality projector, but I couldn't see shit. And the second act has some minor inconsistency that can cause a breaking of immersion, including some retcons of the original's canon lore. I'm not going to say how it retcons it, that's a spoiler, but just be aware it does retcon some things, so that may or may not piss you off a little bit. Overall, though, this is definitely one of the year's biggest surprises, taking a movie that sounded absolutely terrible and just sounded like complete cash-grabbing trash, and somehow turning it into a complete and total win. Not a big fan of these demonic possession religious horror movies, but this definitely belongs among the better ones of the subgenre. And from what I've heard, it is the best of these Omen follow-up movies. So, yep. And don't ask me to review the other films. I don't have time for that right now. Final verdict for this movie is an easy high 8 out of 10. Horror fans, check this one out. Fans of the original Omen, check this one out. Give it a chance. If it ends up not being your thing, that's okay. But if it is your thing, you are going to fucking love it. Definitely one of the biggest surprises of the year. And I'm just glad we finally have another horror movie that I can call genuinely great. Because so far, I've only been able to do that twice. So, yep. That's it. That's everything I gotta say about the first... Oh, and the acting. The main female. What's her name? I'm sorry. I'm blanking. IMDb, help me out here. Nell Tiger Free, that's the name. Nell Tiger Free. Amazing, amazing performance by this woman, especially when you get to the demonic possession scene near the end. Like, damn, it is one of the most effective, terrifying, unnerving, and outright disturbing demonic possession scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I'm not going to say where it is in the movie, I'm just going to say there is one in this movie, and it is fucking brutal and effective as hell. Like, seriously, awesome job there. And then Ralph Ineson's really good. Sonia Braga's pretty good. And then Bill Nighy is also pretty good. So, yeah. Most of the acting's still pretty good, too. I'm talking about mainly the side characters that are hit or miss. So, don't attack me in the comment section and say, oh, you're saying some of the acting's hit or miss, you mean like the main people. No, I mean the background people. Don't get it twisted. Alright, that's it. I've rambled on long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day. And stay tuned because we still have plenty of stuff to do here as we get to the close end of April. We still have My Hero Academia, we still have X-Men 97, we still have the next episode of Chucky, and we still have one last movie to review for the month. So, yep. We're not done in April quite yet, but it is definitely looking like 2024 is starting to turn around a bit after a really, really shitty first 3 months. So, yep, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm John Small of Animation Station. I'll see you in the next review.
We cannot take it anymore.